You're a fraud.
You're a liberal hack.
All right. G'day, Nico. And
G'day.
Yeah, sorry.
I just wait till you speak and then I start rudely interrupt you.
No, that was your cue. I stepped all over your cue. Movie talk. Yeah, and g'day to our new fans since all over the world, probably.
We have new fans.
I think so, because I've gone viral like 3 times and promoted the pod each time. And each time it's got a few downloads. So, like, it's 1.6 million people see the tweet. We get 1.6 new viewers. I don't know what the ratio is, but I'm pretty happy.
So this is the viral that the world asked for, really.
What's that?
Nice...
yeah. As opposed to COVID.
This is a much nicer viral.
I don't know if a viral of like white boy movie podcasts. It was what was.
It's exactly what the world's been crying out for, I think.
Yeah, well, we're here to fill that niche that's been left. Of movie
it's the biggest fucking niche in the world.
I'm 30 years old. I know everything there is to know about movies. I've seen most of them by this point, and you've seen a couple too. So I have 30 years of movie experience, and between us, we have like 32 years of movies.
Yeah, between us, we've got a lot. Captured a lot of movies and opinions.
Mm-hmm.
We change, we sway, but
we shape opinion.
Usually, we stubborn. We double down in our opinion and get more angry and hammer the other one.
Funny you should say that, because I have not doubled down on an opinion. Today, I've actually changed my mind, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, it can be done. For today's pod, we're doing, I guess it's not really a deep dive. It's a small dive because it's a small pool.
It's a shallow dive.
It's not a shallow dive necessarily.
It's a kiddie pool dive.
Because there's only 2 films for our director spotlight. Maybe that's the new. Of Emerald Fennell, who's very hot right now. Saltburn is the #1 movie on hubby streaming services.
Prime, I think, or it was on Prime.
Yeah, or whatever it was. And she's also the director of another film called Promising Young Woman, which was also quite a big hit in 2020. So those are her 2 movies.
That won an Oscar.
That one, it did win an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay, which I wouldn't have given that a one, but it was nominated for a few as well. Saltburn and Promising Young Woman. Those are the 2 movies we're going to talk about.
You got the name right this time.
What did I say?
Promising Young Woman and Saltburn.
What did I say?
Not the alternative title to that.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, you can look up the alternative title to Saltburn.
It was a working title, and I think she decided to go a different direction.
Promising Young Saltburn. Type that in, and you'll...
I think what the audience love and want the most, and I'm not going to pretend to speak on behalf of the audience, except I'm doing it now, is that they love us when we clash in our opinions and we argue about what we hate and what we like.
Mm-hmm.
So thankfully here we've got a movie, Saltburn, which we both dislike almost equally, I think.
I think a lot of people dislike it. We might be preaching to the choir.
Not a lot. No, I honestly, see, this is the thing. We talked about this before, but a lot of people maybe in your bubble don't like it, but
my bubble.
A lot of people like the scores on IMDb are 7.1. That's decent. And then on Letterboxd, most of the scores are 8s and 9s.
Yeah, it looks like a 4.0 kind of average. What was it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Like there are decent films with lower average scores.
You keep talking. I'm just looking up this Saltburn.
Yeah, look it up if you don't believe me.
3.5 average, but it does have a lot of 4s and 5s. And that's higher than I expected because Saltburn, we'll get out of the way. It was not for me either. But just I'll do a little spoiler because I don't want to... Here's the thing. This is the first time we've done a female director for our director spotlight, and I can feel we're losing our audience already. So just before we get into Saltburn, little spoiler for ahead of the podcast, I am going to be not just a woman defender, but a promising young woman defender.
Oh, so we're doing that, are we? You've switched sides.
I've switched sides now. I think Emerald Fennell might be a good director after watching Promising Young Woman.
All right, well, that's going to make this interesting, at least.
Yeah, that's right.
It was just going to be you and me agreeing about how...
So,
but I'm willing to go into the trenches here and establish that she... I guess we shouldn't have that many women directors if you're... No, she's not a good example.
She is.
So we're going to be going through some women directors. So, for example, next pod is going to be Sofia Coppola. Who I think's a great working director. We did try to do Greta Gerwig.
We did. Greta messed up the audio.
We got some recording of. Anyway, long story short, we both agree that she's also one of the best working. Well, I think she was. I've loved her film so far, from Lady Bird, Little Women, into Barbie. Barbie, obviously, a bit more outspoken. But Saltburn is horrible. It is not a good film. It is soulless. It is lacking in anything that I could consider artistic
that's a bit
credibility. No, seriously, it's just all style and nonsense.
But the style is quite good. Not to be base level criticism, but cinematographically, it's a very attractive film. Was it in 4:3? I can't even remember. Everything's in 4:3 now. Was it in the Academy format? Anyway, it was framed nice. Nice use of color. It was an attractive film. Apart from that, I don't know now. I don't know after watching Promising Young Woman, I'm kind of maybe on the side of Emerald Fennell now. I kind of see what she's going for, because Promising Young Woman was more kind of schlocky, revenge, fantasy. It was more fun than I was expecting. And I think Saltburn I found to be kind of humorless in a weird way.
We'll talk about that after if you want, because so a similar issue with Promising Young Woman for me was I gave it a 6 out of 10, which was a passable film. It's certainly not an Oscar category. Certainly not. I'm not nominating for any Academy Awards if it's me. But I found the tone really hard to nail, and it didn't know what it was going for. It was really. Yeah, look, it was funny at times, and then it was sort of
very funny at times.
Tell a message, and then it had the tone was not nailed at all. So it wasn't really understanding the point of what it was trying to say. And Saltburn, this tenfold. So Saltburn is just a complete mess of a film with no real point, no real biting satire. There's... What are you Are you satirizing Barry Cohen's characters from before?
Be careful.
His previous
totally
catalog or something.
It's be careful of greedy poor people who might try to come take your stuff.
Yeah, who are pretending to be. It was told from such a lens of, I hate to say the P word, privilege, but it is, because it's just I looked her up after, and it was just, I was like, oh, I was 100% right. She comes from a very affluent background. She's basically the point of view of Rosamund Pike in this film. I can totally get it.
That's the one artistic bit about the movie, though, is that Rosamund Pike was a very good actor in it, as always.
Yeah, she's a very good actor, and she's in it. Barry Cohen is a very good actor, and he's in it too. Jacob Elordi, I've even come around and said I like Jacob Elordi. I think he's a good actor.
And you haven't seen
he's not utilized very well. I honestly don't. Well, I mean, okay, so as the eye candy for the film, obviously that is successful because it's got such a following, and that following is a very loud, late teen, early 20s demographic. But they also find Matt Rife funny. So what do they know about anything?
Yeah.
But I just think the film's for them. It's for a really dumb audience. That's probably I sound holier than that, and I am, because it's really meant for dumb people. So I'm really hoping this isn't anywhere near any awards this year, because it's just an anti-film. It's just it's a hack job. I'm going to say it's a hack job. This film is a hack job, and she's almost got no place behind a camera.
I think that's the thing is that she has
It's so harsh, but
no. I mean, hey, that's what we're here for. Without fear or favor, giving our honest opinion. But my honest opinion is I don't think the directing is necessarily the problem with Saltburn. I think it's the script is pointless and horrible and has nothing going for it. Like I feel like she's done the best she could with the script. She just needs to get a new writer. Unfortunately, she was the writer.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure she
of
she
both
wrote
of her
this one
films,
too.
yeah. And I just think maybe she's like Scorsese. You know, he's not less of a great director because he doesn't really write his scripts. I just think, the problems with the movie mainly start and end with the script. Like, you don't care about the characters. Barry Keoghan's character is not interesting. His turn is not even a turn. The twist is not a twist because it's like, he was
it's
clearly
now you see me twist. It's the most obvious thing I've ever
evil
seen.
the whole time.
Obviously, did you like?
That was
I
the
couldn't
whole
believe
point,
how. Yeah, that was the whole point. It's like obviously it was him. He was around all
That's
the dead
what he was
people
doing.
all the time. Like, do you not? It was a complete disrespect. I felt disrespected.
When they did the little montage of the reveal, it was kind of like, okay, this
disrespectful.
Bit is for,
let's call it what it is. It was
disrespectful.
disrespectful. It was basically just saying, like, it was like you'd see like gasping from a dumb fucking 10-year-old maybe. Oh my god, real? It's just like, yeah, you're not paying attention. I go to the movies to pay attention. Like, I don't switch off.
No,
this is for moviegoers who switch off and just want to fucking relax. Yeah, chill and watch this. Fine. I'm not doing that. I'm giving it my entire attention, and I want to be
that's
immersed.
what you paid for.
Yeah, that's right. Look, yeah, the cast. There's no excuse because the cast is great, and they all given pretty decent performances. I think even Kerry Mulligan appears at the start.
She does.
I mean, there are funny moments where I laughed along, but very few and far between. And I really, it's the opposite of, I suppose, the male gaze, right? So when you have a film that's
every time somebody says that, I do.
No, I know it's the male, but yeah, it's about the male.
Yeah,
gaze.
I know the male
gaze.
gaze. Yeah,
but I mean, you notice this when women write gay people, it's just never. It's so off. Like it's not like they don't. I don't think they understand the sexuality of the male sexuality, so it doesn't make sense. Like that's it's like there's no understanding. It might as well have been written by a 13-year-old virgin. It's just like, oh my god, imagine if Rob and Jacob were gay. Like, oh my god. Like seriously, that's how it felt. This is a disrespectful film. I felt disrespected.
Yeah, I agree. I
keep saying,
but agree. I mean, I think I have a bit of a glow from Promising Young Woman, but my take on Saltburn was 4 out of 10. Like, this is not a movie worth watching. I really, as I said, I liked how it looked, and I kind of liked how it played. It was kind of funny and tense, and I didn't feel like I was bored, but I was just kind of upset at what I saw happening, and knowing what's happening. I'm like, okay, this is the whole movie then. It's just Barry Keoghan kind of being weird and causing mischief, and that's what he does the whole movie. And Rosamund Pike has some good lines. Not even great lines. It's like Rosamund Pike delivers them great. And Jacob Elordi, I kind of get his sex appeal now as well. I think it was a bit of a star performance from Elordi. Like, not, it's going to, obviously, Priscilla will be the big...
The character payoff in terms of when it's like the slow motion scenes is to... You see, like, and then they show some disgusting scenes. The bathtub scene, which is really a gross out scene. It's not a. It's there for people to talk about as a gross. Yeah, but that's
crazy
I hate
scene.
that. Watch Jackass then. Watch Jackass. Watch fucking movie. Remember movie 43?
Yeah,
the whole point of that movie was to shock audiences with
Hugh
Jackman having a ball sack on his chin.
It has a slightly more of an artistic credibility.
Than a ball sack on a chin? Like, slightly.
Than a ball sack on a chin.
Yeah, slightly. See, that's the level she's operating at.
Oh, I don't know.
Ball sack on a chin.
Harsh.
No, look, you're right. I'll just go to your point on that. You're sort of where like a truly bad film, you lose interest very quickly. So you're not bored. And I agree with that. So it's not a boring film, and you're kind of watching. It's 2 hours and it's a seamless 2 hours. Like it's not
seamless is the word. I was thinking of something like that.
Yeah. So it's like you're immersed. I mean, you're immersed, but you're sort of following along, and it's interesting, and it's sort of keeping you going. But I think that's what really kind of got me hot at the end, was the fact that it was all this with no payoff. And
I agree.
And yeah,
I think it's all these great elements.
All these great elements
in service of like a horrible script. And if you don't got a script, you don't got a movie. That's more movie biz speak. We have a bit of a behind the scenes kind of movie insider bit of knowledge, being a film critic duo. But yeah, no, anyway, as I was saying, what was I saying?
Exactly. We'll sharpen this bit up in the editing room, I think.
Nah, no need. I think people get what I'm saying.
No, I get what you're saying. No, so that's so it's almost like a truly bad film I wouldn't be as hot
that's right.
about.
Bad scripts.
Because, like I would have tuned out halfway through. So, for example, Die Hard, Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. What was it? The one in Russia?
Oh, yeah.
Russia?
The
I walked out after 30 minutes.
Ooh,
but I truly know that's a
that
much worse film than this. You watched the whole... Yeah, that's the only film, like cinema film, I've ever walked out on.
Yeah, that's rough.
But that's like getting to that level. So I would never walk out on this film because there's enough...
You're hoping it kind of comes together at the end, but it doesn't really... Because I don't really think there is a point yet. It's just kind of like a vehicle for some of the actors and Emerald Fennell's directing. But yeah, it is the script, I think. Because,
Well, let's segue into Promising Young Women. So this was much... this is about, from an audience, I think it was pretty similarly regarded. But I think the critics were much more on board with this film so
critics
far.
Loved it,
I've seen from Saltburn.
4 or 5 Oscar nominations.
Yeah.
I think critics were really about Promising Young Woman, and I never watched it. And at the time, I just thought, I don't know. It's people were talking, like non-critics were not enjoying it. Anyway, I watched it and I thought it was pretty great. Like, much better than Saltburn. I kind of loved Promising Young Woman. And I knew kind of how it was going to end. Not exactly, no spoilers, but and I was like kind of waiting for that. And I was like, I think that's going to flop the ending, and that'll be why it's not been as well received. And then I think they really nailed the ending. I left feeling quite satisfied. I think that's very key for me, how you start and how you finish the movie. I know I've said it before, but...
Like I said, my biggest issue with Promising Young Woman was the tone, in that it couldn't nail it for me. So it wasn't really... It was sort of going down dark comedy, and it was going down kind of preachy, this is how it is for... the fair sex, and then it was going into this is how it is.
For sure.
It's based on a really interesting story, or I think it wasn't based on a story, but it was based on the fella named Brock, who's promising young man, promising young man, based on you're accusing this guy, and he's got such a promising future. You're going to tear him down. So the premise is really great, in that it sort of deconstructs that as to say, well, what about the actual victim? But I just don't think it nails it. That was my sort of problem, and it kind of is similar as it's to me. It's the director, and it's sort of her upbringing in that she comes off very sheltered. Like she doesn't really have a worldly point of view in what she's saying. It's very kind of any idiot on Tumblr might have been able to write this script. For me, I'm just saying that's just how it comes across. It's obviously much better than Saltburn, but after watching Saltburn, it kind of really solidified me thinking this about Emerald. Like, she's just, even the name, I mean, come on.
Emerald
just screams pretentious, doesn't it?
It does a bit. Kind of like a woodland creature, a princess from the elves. Like an elvish princess,
Elvish princess,
that's the thing. I thought the tone was going to be not preachy, but just kind of like annoying, kind of base level feminism. Not much to say, but I don't think it's really framing itself as a movie that. I mean, it has a message, obviously, but I don't think that was necessarily the central point. Although it was, so I think it's like a really effective revenge fantasy. I think it is just about being a woman. So her kind of sheltered privilegedness, while it's a factor, obviously, intersectional feminism will cover it. But I think she has like a really strong idea of what being a woman is like. And it's like a really angry movie in a lot of ways. But it's also like
of course,
light and fun. It's like a revenge fantasy. The ending kind of reminded me of the Inglourious Bastards ending, where they mild spoilers, I guess, but when they like kill Hitler and kill everybody, like how there's kind of like a success at the end, made it feel more like a fantasy, more like she's having fun with it. Like, okay, we're just gonna have to go into spoilers. The movie's been out for 3 years. Check it out. Yeah. It's a good movie. But when she kind of gets killed in the middle of the third act, and then the movie keeps going, and Jake Green's introduction, like all the casting is brilliant. Like having all these nice, funny guys, kind of playing against type. Jake Green, Schmidt.
Yeah, Bo Burnham is the biggest one there, because you sort of think Bo Burnham, good guy, and he's like, oh, okay, all right, that's
not
interesting.
So
Yeah. So that's quite interesting. That film.
And I felt that it's not like Oscar bait, even though it did get nominated for Oscars and win one at least. It felt more like a bit punk, almost like Tarantino-esque. Like he's almost like a slasher film, or like an homage to almost like Death Proof.
I mean, it's Avril Lavigne punk. That's honestly what it is. Like, if you're going to say it's...
Sure.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, it's just... there's...
But it's not Oscar bait.
My whole point is that there's better... I know it's kind of weird to say, and we'll cover it next week, but there's better storytellers out there, and she's really, to me, kind of not one of them. I mean, she's done 2 films, and she can turn it around.
Especially because I think we can agree it's maybe we agree that it's more the writing than the directing that's the problem, or both for you?
Well, yeah, no, so technically you're right. So technically both films are shot incredibly well, edited well. I know it's not all the director doing that, but as a film, it's pretty tight, right? Like, it's...
So the pieces are there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's what I mean. The parts are there. It certainly pulls it together in Promising Young Woman.
Yeah, I think it really came together.
Saltburn. But I think she got the accolades too early on in her career,
Sure.
and I think that probably went to her head. I mean, I'm obviously really jumping here because a similar thing would have happened to Quentin Tarantino, but I think he was able to...
Oh, that guy? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's like he got the accolades very early on.
28 years old, takes over Hollywood. Yeah, and he's the biggest head there is now in Hollywood.
But she's on a similar trajectory, I think, because she started so well critically. And I think you see, like, I saw the preview for Saltburn. It's like the first little thing is written by and directed, directed and written by
Promising
Emerald.
Young.
So it's leading with that, right?
Yeah. She's a name now.
She's the name. But yeah, I just think what was she's not saying anything with this one. The Saltburn I'm talking about.
Saltburn. Sure. Saltburn,
it's just like it's a flop.
It is a flop. It's a sophomore slump, we'll say.
Which happens often. That happens often.
I think Promising Young Woman is kind of like, it's a fantasy world. It's an acknowledgement of like nothing ever happens to these guys in real life, and that's kind of played out through the movie. And instead of just being like, obviously we're angry about that. In the movie, she's able to do something about it. I don't know why I found it so compelling. I think because it was more fun than I was expecting. It's like she's having fun with the idea that you could just like fuck with these guys and take the law into your own hands, kind of thing.
I get that, but it's just 2 themes that really, one's fun and one's not fun. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard to combine the strong themes of sexual assault with fun.
I agree.
That's what I mean, and I don't think it does it successfully.
I mean, sure. I mean, yeah. I can see how you would watch the movie and be like, the tone is confused. It's like kind of all over the place. I don't know. At the start, I was not really vibing it. But the way it developed, it kept shifting in interesting ways to me, rather than being like, it turned into a romantic comedy and then a horror and then like just a straight comedy for a bit, like an absurd comedy. Like when it just cuts to them burning the body, it's like supposed to be a funny scene, or like when Jake Green goes, "It's not your fault," and then he makes a face like it kind of was. It's like they're funny moments in like a really absurd moment, and then they go on living their lives, and then they cut to the wedding, and she's like, "You're my best friend," and it's ridiculous. And they're doing like peace drums and dancing and stuff, and it's all played really absurd and really funny. And I don't know, I like the way it kept shifting, and by the end, I was kind of like laughing and enjoying myself, and I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, Kerry Mulligan, get him." And so for me, it worked. I don't know why. Maybe because I had low expectations. I didn't like Saltburn, and I never expected really to like A Promising Young Woman. So the fact that
it's vice versa though. So you watch Promising Young Woman and you watch Saltburn, you expect a little bit more from
that's true
from that. So yeah, it can kind of work the other way sometimes.
No, yeah.
So yeah, I've definitely. I don't think I'd probably be more critical on someone in this pod. But I think there's you know what I mean? Like, I've sort of said, okay, that movie sucked. It was a 1 star, but I haven't really... I think this is more of a kind of, like, irritatingly bad film.
Saltburn.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, just irritatingly bad.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's like... And it's trying to ape, like, the best parts of other movies. Like, I 100% think the final dance scene is a reference, homage, whatever, straight rip from Beau Travail's, like, ending dancing scene. I think obviously talented Mr. Ripley is like a big inspiration,
isn't it? Yeah, like it's such a known story, and so when you have these known stories, that twist doesn't mean anything because everyone knows, like people who have watched these things before or similar sort of tropes, they know what's coming.
And was Ripley Gus Van Sant who directed Ripley? Do you know?
Oh, that sounds
Whoever
right.
Whoever it was does understand like psychosexual energy and like that kind of creepy, not creepy,
but even the homoerotic sort of you know, like tension.
Yeah,
that's much more effective.
Oh, absolutely. Like it's because you didn't need Matt Damon like licking up Jude Law's cum to understand.
Oh, can you?
I mean, you got it without.
Oh god! I mean, they didn't try that, did they? Maybe if they, maybe that was what was.
Who's that? He was a British guy. Well,
yeah,
that explains it. Anyway,
and it had what's the name? Gwyneth Paltrow too. So,
oh yeah.
Oh, I know we don't like her, but I think she was good.
Oh, she was great in the '90s. Yeah. Like for that brief period of time, she was doing some really cool movies.
Before she was nuts.
Well, she's whatever. She's like rich.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a wrap. I think 2 movies.
2 movies, yeah, half an hour. That probably checks out. Martin Scorsese with 25 films gets 40 minutes. So Emerald Fennell, 2:30. That's fair. Okay, well, for those who were expecting me to have a certain opinion, well, guess what? I'm always going to surprise. Yeah, fireworks. That's what we promise here on Hacking the Fraud. Nick, Emerald Fennell, good director, bad director? Wait and see.
Like I said, so far, no. So far, not. I know she's got... Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean she can't be in the future, but I don't see it.
I say yes, good director. Should never write another script. Very bad scripts. All right. That's great. Thanks for joining us. Next time, Sofia Coppola. So
get stuck in.
Yeah.